Hello, class. This is Christian again, your professor, and I'm here to talk about week 4 of New Testament Literature 1. I've got the week 4 folder open here. Feel free to do the same yourself. Follow along, and not too complicated this week, but you do have several assignments due by the end of this week. Just want to remind you on those. Make sure you're looking in the right direction. So, as usual, you're at Moody Bible Institute, so you're going to read, and then you're going to read and read and read and read. But I do try to keep these reading chunks small. Some of you may hate that, some of you may love that. Either way, we're doing it. So hope you enjoy it as much as you can. We're talking about parables this week. We're going to look specifically at the prodigal son. And then your scriptures are going to reflect that. You're going to be reading out of Matthew, Luke, and John this week. So hopefully that'll be fun. Optional reading, Jesus Through Middle Eastern Eyes. I'm not honestly expecting you to do that, but that is an excellent book for you to maybe look at after the course when you got some free time. Really cool book. I think I actually have it over here. Pretty thick book actually. But very good and an excellent read. Jesus Through Middle Eastern Eyes, and then there's a part 6 is on the parables of Jesus. So that's for your own personal growth and enrichment, at your leisure. This week you've got due the Jesus Under Fire assignment. You've also got the allegorical interpretation assignment, which I will be going over shortly, as well as the parable writing competition. There are no discussion boards this week, which is on purpose to give you guys extra amount of time to be turning in these assignments. Hopefully you've already started the Jesus Under Fire assignment, but just to make sure you're good to go with that. Remember what we're doing here. You're responding to this concept of the Jesus Seminar, and you're answering these questions 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Make sure you're clearly outlining these, and that it's just easy for myself and Chris to do the grading. On this, as well as most of the grading this week, don't get too wrapped up in being technically correct. We aren't just giving perfect scores just for the sake of, you did it, perfect score. You should get a perfect score, because really all we're looking for is that you obviously did the reading, that you put some thought and effort into it. There's a measure of creativity on a couple of these assignments. Obviously, the Jesus Under Fire assignment allows you to basically put yourself in a theoretical situation where you'd answer, questions accordingly. But as well as this assignment on where is it? The parable writing competition should be really fun. I'll go over that in a second. But it allows you to have some creativity. So we're not necessarily looking for again, right and wrong, but you have to utilize your reading for this. And if you haven't done your reading well, we're going to be able to see that, and we're going to dock you really just for lack of effort. But I don't want it to be just this wishy-washy, do it and you get 100%. I want this to, what we're trying to do at this point is we're giving you tastes of various things of New Testament literature, and we're making sure that as you go through the material via reading or whatever, that you're able to interact with it on certain levels. And if you're interacting with it well, that's what we're wanting. You're going to get the points for that. If you're not, it's really easy to tell in your writing and in your feedback if you're not doing the work and you're not really grasping stuff at the right level. So my point is that most all of you should get perfect scores, but if you're not getting a perfect score, it's really because we're realizing that you haven't quite really put the time in to the assignment. Okay, so we're not going to be giving tons of feedback necessarily. At the end of the week, we'll give kind of, especially with the Jesus Under Fire, we'll probably give some examples and of classmates that did really well in that sort of thing. All right, so now let's pop down to the allegorical interpretation. One of the central interpretive debates concerning the parables is whether they are to be interpreted as a single main point lesson or as theological allegories. I think we touched on this a little bit with what we were aiming at in the discussion boards. But you see Strauss on page 447 to 48. It talks a little bit about that. To further examine the contours of this debate and see how much it affects interpretation, students will re-examine a well-known parable, the prodigal son. Okay, the reading for that is there should be a correction on your main page, announcement page, and emailed out to you if you have a link in your Blackboard that didn't work. If it works well, don't worry about it. But some students were commenting on the link being the wrong link, so we posted an announcement for that. Okay? After carefully reading Luke 15, 1 to 32, use the worksheet. So in the Lesson 4 resource folder, pop down there, and you've got the allegorical interpretation worksheet. All right. That's this right here. I'll pop back to that in a second, but let me first keep reading the directions. You're going to answer the following questions. Do you agree with Blomberg? We give you the exact page number on page 201 to 202, that this parable must be interpreted allegorically. Do you agree with him? Why or why not? If yes, to what extent do you believe that parables can be interpreted as allegories? Outline some guidelines for interpreters. Hint we give you. On Strauss, page 451, there is some guidelines for interpreters. So you're supposed to be using those as you answer that question as you go, okay? Number 2, according to an allegorical interpretation, whom do the 3 main characters in the story stand for? The father, the prodigal son, and the older brother. Who do they stand for? If this is an allegory, the father means it has an allegorical interpretation, the prodigal son, and the older brother, okay? What are those? Is this supported anywhere in the text? Okay, so what's the rationale based on Scripture to draw those conclusions? Carefully read surrounding chapters and verses to come to your conclusions. So obviously, you're going to have to read outside of just the prodigal son to be able to support your answer. Number 3, what do you believe are the messages or message of this parable? Using any number of Strauss's 6 principles of interpretation of parables, give you the page number, 449 to 451, defend your interpretation of this parable. All right, this is due by the end of this week. So if we go back to that worksheet, all you are really doing, those 3 questions or 4 questions I read are all right here in the worksheet on the left-hand side, and then you simply answer them. So all you're doing here, take the question, respond here, turn the worksheet in. The reason why we didn't make this a quiz versus a worksheet is because really we want you to think through some of these things and give rationale. So you can be wrong on these, and we're still going to give you full credit if you supported it, with the text and with the reading. Does that make sense? I hope it does. Okay, so not a difficult assignment, but one that forces you to get your hands dirty a little bit and really ingrained into this parable of the prodigal son. Hopefully you're going to think through it a little bit more in depth and at a different angle or angles than you have in the past. It's a very well known one. You've all heard it probably a million times. And hopefully you can think through some ways that maybe it wasn't interpreted the most effectively in the past. And what are some things and keys and skills that you're learning as a biblical interpreter, or just simply as you're going through and learning about New Testament literature that would perhaps tweak the way that you would apply and interpret things here in this parable. So that's the allegorical interpretation worksheet. Hope you enjoy that. Email me if you have any questions. And now let's scroll down to the parable writing competition, which should be fun this week. All right. One of Jesus' favorite methods of teaching was to speak in parables. As many readers of Scripture may have experienced, it's not always easy to determine what Jesus' intended message must be. Proper interpretation requires a keen eye to multiple layers of context within the Gospels and their author's setting and message. In this assignment, students will produce scripture-like parables to emulate and thus better understand how parables function in the Gospels. That's right, you are going to be forming your own parable. This is not me saying that you guys are Jesus, but hopefully you will appreciate parables in a whole new light after this. These parables may use settings, images, and ideas similar to the Gospels. You see a lot of agriculture, wheat and tares, a farmer went out to sow seed. Agriculture, that's what we're referring to. Jesus used agricultural parables a lot. It's an agricultural culture in the ancient Near East, and thus agricultural parables are very common. So you can use these settings, images, and ideas similar to the Gospels, or else set their parables in the present day. You can do a present day parable using modern equivalents to things like agriculture that may facilitate some ambiguity and speculation for readers. Parables must be submitted to the instructor via email by midweek, Saturday 12 a.m. Let me interpret Saturday 12 a.m. That's Friday night at midnight. Okay, so that does not mean Saturday. Oh, I didn't realize when 12 a.m. was. This is pretty much replacing the discussion board this week. So your initial submission to myself will be Friday night at midnight. My email, which you all have, christian.martinson@moody.edu. Make sure to spell it properly. Look in your course details if you don't know how to spell my name or know my email. Email it to me by Friday night at midnight. And then evaluation for this assignment will be based upon the instructor's evaluation of each parable. You get 50% as that, as well as the results of the following competition, the other 50%. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to publish a document with all of your parables that are included, and I'm going to post it in the announcement section of Blackboard like I do the weekly announcements. And then each student, you're going to be assigned 3 parables on this list to evaluate. So I'm going to let you know which 3 parables you will evaluate. We'll get that to you Saturday. Yeah, so it's due Friday night at midnight. Saturday, you're going to have the 3 parables on the list to evaluate. Evaluation scores for each parable will be between 1, needs work, and 5, excellent. Though there are 3 parables to be evaluated, students must only use 10 points between these 3 parables. In other words, for example, students may give scores of 5, 4, and 1, or 4, 4, and 2. In other words, you can only give 10 points among your 3 parables that you are evaluating. You get 10 points to give however you want. So you can give someone a 0 and 2 people 5s. You can give one person 10 and 2 people 0. That'd be really harsh if you did that. But what we're saying is if you think that 2 people deserve the 6 and the other person deserves the 5, that's way too many points. You've only got 10 points to give someone. Really, what we're saying is 5 is the most you're going to give someone. 1 needs work. So you honestly can't give 3 people 5s, though, can you? No, because that would add up to more than 10 points. So you're going to give someone each of the 3 that you're grading. You've got 10 points to use. So pretend like I gave you guys like $10, and you can give those $10 out amongst the 3 people that you are evaluating. Okay, but once your $10 is given out, it's out. So if you give someone a 5, you only got $5 more to disperse between the other 2 people. Does that make sense? I hope so. Let me know if you have questions. So what we're going to do then, this is going to be a lot of emailing at this point. We may give you a different way to turn it in on Saturday, but on Saturday I'm going to assign you based on everyone have turned in their parables on Friday night. Saturday you'll get the 3 people that you're evaluating, and then you're going to score it, and then the scores are due back to me by Monday night. Okay, and we'll have some fun with that. Tuesday at midnight means, well, Monday at midnight is Tuesday at 12 a.m. Okay, so you're going to submit your evaluations by the end of the week. Obviously, failure to do so, reduction of your grade. The students who score first place will be awarded 100% on the assignment, and a 5% bonus on their final score. Other grades will be awarded on a sliding scale based on peer evaluation totals. Don't freak out about this. You guys, again, we're going to be very fair with this, but we do want to award those of you that do an outstanding